Greenwoodies, wild woodies, welcome once again to the kitchen table. Well, here we are again, 2020, well into the new year now, so I thought I'd just give you a bit of a catch up where we are with the whole special edition reprint of Greenwood Tarot, just so everybody's up to speed. And there are some things that have developed quite nicely, so I'll talk to you about those in a minute. And I just wanted to say, Imbolc, here we are. Very important time, exciting time, I think, anyway. The time of the ancestor and the pole star, and new beginnings, new adventures, yet trying to ground everything in a traditional and sincere and honest direction and drive. So anyway, all to play for, new year, and lots of adventures to be had along the way. So, Imbolc. Okay, I know you're all dying to know, I know. So we are moving along swiftly, and as I promised several people, including Ali, we will have this done by the summer. Obviously it's taken a little more time than I would have liked, due to the fact of, I keep getting offers of work and other projects which keep taking up a bit of my life, which I've sadly got to just deal with them. But this is a labour of love which is definitely happening, and I wanted to thank everybody that's participated in the various polls and comes along and likes the Greenwood page on Facebook and various other things. We're going to develop all of that online presence now during the course of the spring, but thank you all for coming along and liking the page and making comments and all that kind of stuff. And on a note regarding polls, because the last poll regarding the size of the deck was so successful, we're going to be doing some more to try and clarify things. And I thought, as an example, since we are here, let's take this ancestor and Wildwood ancestor. Now you can see the Greenwood ancestor and the Wildwood. The Wildwood is a more standard sized card, plain card. And I know there's various versions of this. This is one of the original ones, and so it has nothing on the back, but you can see it's actually slightly different size to Greenwood. Greenwood was slightly wider and slightly taller than the standard playing card deck, and the result of the poll was pretty clear that everybody wanted the original size, which is, as I say, is a little bit wider, but it's not your standard card size, so it is going to affect production of the deck. But as it was so firmly voted for, we're going to stay with the original deck, which means we have to get somebody to print this up in that original card size. So that's the decision we're looking at right now. The decision's made. It's a question of how we go about it, but we will go about it and keep it the original card size, so the art sits on the page as it did in the original deck. And as I say, that's the original card size. Wildwood is slightly wider, and we've got somebody that can do that for us now, so we're just looking at how we go about that. The other issues we've got, which we may go to polls to ask your opinions on, would be edges, the colourings of edges and things like that. One of the issues that comes up often in questions to me is about cropping the borders off the cards. I personally have no, once you've obtained a deck of cards, pack of cards, tarot deck, what you do with them is up to you as far as I'm concerned. So if you like the artwork without the border, by all means crop it off and work with just the image. It speaks to you clearly and plainly, then you don't need the edges. A lot of people like the edges because they don't want to ruffle the artwork or get fingerprints on the artwork and that kind of stuff. So I lean towards printing with a border, which then if you choose to crop it off, that's up to you. If we don't have a border, you can't crop it off. So if you like the border and we crop it off, you're stuck with it. So I'm leaning towards a border which can be cropped off, and with the artwork, the full size, the width of the card, as it was in the original decks, being a slightly wider card stock than standard. So we may put a poll up on that and ask people that again, and edges of the cards and that kind of stuff. But we've been looking at lots of other things that we can add into this package to make it attractive to people. And one of the suggestions has come in regarding making the box, because I don't know about you, I mean, I everything that I have usually ends up in a bag or in a box, in a wooden box. So the actual box itself usually ends up sitting on a shelf somewhere and never seeing the light of day again. So what we thought about doing was the possibility of getting a simple slip card box, but adding a bag in with the package. So we may come to you and ask you your opinion of that. We'll make a nice bag with which you can take the deck out of the box, put the box where you want, and put the cards in a bag for safekeeping. Some people like to buy their own bags, of course, so you could put your, I don't know where you want to put it, in the back that goes with the deck. Put something else in it, I suppose. But anyway, that's another one of the thoughts that we've had. And obviously we'll come to what we're going to do with the back of the card as we go along. I'm actually leaning to make the deck different from the original deck, which would be very difficult to counterfeit, and that's another issue that we'll discuss along the way, is to use an original piece of art which I was given by Cheska many years ago. So I might do that. I have a piece of art that Cheska gave me, which I'm thinking might be perfect for the back of the card, to differentiate it from the counterfeits that are out there, which are myriad, and the original deck with the picture of the shaman on the back of the card. Counterfeiting is becoming a real problem, as I'm sure you've noticed if you've been following any of the posts on Wildwood. I mean, they're all over the place, the nature deck, the various other ones, all these different outlets. We've seen them from all kinds of prices. In fact, some counterfeits more expensive than the original deck, which, is kind of bizarre. But yeah, counterfeits more expensive than actually going to Sterling or going to Edison books and buying it from there. So we don't quite know. I would say flattery is the finest form of, no, imitation is the finest form of flattery. But this is getting a bit ridiculous. But remember, if you buy a deck like that, I don't know what the source of these decks are. We've been looking into it all over the place, apparently. We don't know. We don't know where the money's going, but it's certainly not to us. I mean, as most of you know, writers in this world, in the esoteric world, nobody's going to be buying Aston Martins and Bentleys out of what we do with this kind of work. So if money is going to sources that didn't actually pay for the original artwork, didn't do the original research, and didn't go to all the trouble of publishing the works in the first place in a reasonable and serviceable format and quality, then it just strangles that money from furthering other work like this. It steals that money, robs that money from people who are out there doing other work of quality. So I urge you, please don't buy counterfeit fake decks. It's not helping us. Let's put it that way. Okay, that was one thing. That's that one thing out the way. Okay, right. With the production of this limited edition deck this summer, there will be other things that we're looking at, including doing early bird offers. One of them, which we've discussed, will be me doing a personal reading for a certain number who are coming to buy early bird straight away. In the deck production, I'll do a Skype, or if you're at one of the conventions that I'm at, which, as you know, I do these fan conventions all over the world for the various projects I've been involved with, and I do a couple in the UK as well over the course of the spring and the summer. I'll do a limited amount of readings. Reading for me is intense. it usually takes me about an hour. So we will look at that, of doing a limited amount of personal readings as an early bird offer with the deck. We're looking obviously at the signed postcards, which we do with Wildwood as well, which has been very successful, and obviously discounts and offers to do the online course, which we are literally working on every week as we chug along to the summer. So that's going to be part of one of the offers that we make regarding getting the pack promoted and getting people to purchase it and enjoy it. One of the other things I've been asked, and I may do this as part of the course, but I may just do this as a separate post. I've been asked many times, because obviously I'm still living in California, between California and the Netherlands, and I've been asked many times about the relationship to the land and reading the land and tuning into these various themes and ideas and residual bits of memory that they seem to float about in the system. And there is only one way, and that is to get on the ground, get into the ground, get on the ground. And I was asked about how I found the difference between doing that, say, in California and the Mojave and the forests in Northern California, as opposed to Wales and England and Scotland and around Europe. I've slept in mountains in the Alps, the German plain, the Welsh mountains, various hill forts. They call it stealth camping now, which is, I think it's great, stealth camping. We used to just, take your bivy bag and a sleeping bag and hide yourself in a hill fort somewhere and tune in, or a forest or wherever we were. So I'm going to do a little, maybe an hour, on my essentials for going out and sleeping on the ground and tuning in, which I think is one of the best ways of getting your fingers into the soil and into the information that is stored all around you. You just need to be able to tune in and ask it to come to you, and it will. And a lot of the images in the cards, both in Wildwood and Greenwood, but specifically Greenwood, were because of the time I spent on the ground in a lot of these sites. Cheska and I, as you know, visited many of these sites and spent a lot of time trying to commune with some of the information floating about in the ether there. And I actually spent quite a lot of time camping out and sleeping out on the Welsh mountains and by waterfalls and all that kind of stuff to see what came to me. And so a lot of the information in Greenwood specifically is stuff that was gathered that way. And like anything outdoor pursuit, you have to have a plan and some equipment. As an instructor once said to me, any idiot can be uncomfortable. So I stick by the Lofty Wiseman's rule, who I did meet once actually, very nice man, very wise, very special man. And water, shelter, fire and food. So the four basics of water, shelter, fire and food. If you're going to go out on the ground and spend any time out in the Welsh mountains, even in the Brecon Beacons, which can be seductive and look pretty and beautiful, but it can be very dangerous as well. About how you prepare yourself for that, what equipment, what's essential that you take, and little tricks and tips that I've learned over the years about making yourself comfortable on the ground, in the woods, up the mountains, wherever. Even being able to make a cup of tea, which is an absolute lifesaver. And literally was a lifesaver once, a hot cup of tea, once in the Brecon Beacons. Another story, but another time. So I'm going to do maybe an hour about my personal stuff that I take with me, my equipment, my backpack, into the mountains. What sleeping, how to make yourself comfortable, tarpaulins, bivy bags, cooking equipment. Just the basic stuff that you need to be able to go off into the wilderness for a night or two and just explore and tune into the landscape. So I'll do a little tape on that at some point in the proceedings, as the weather's getting nicer now here in Holland. It's been raining, but it's now beginning to brighten up. The sky's brightening up and the weather's beginning to warm up a little bit. So we'll do that. We will do that. Not that you can't do it in the snow. I've done it in the snow as well, trust me. I have been snow camping in the Cascade Mountains with my grill. So I've slept on the snow. There are witnesses, not just in the Cascade Mountains. I've slept on the snow on the German plains as well in late November. Lots of other stories. But anyway, we will come to that. So I just wanted to touch base, let everybody know that things are moving forward. We are going to do the card stock size the same as the original Greenwood. And we've got a couple of more options that we're looking at doing, but we are on track for a summer release. And we will give you more details about the various offers, early bird offers, and additional things we're going to try and stuff into the package as we go along. So welcome back. I hope you had a good Christmas into the new year. We're now looking at Imbolc. As I say, it's an exciting time for me. I've always found this particular card one of my most treasured and profound in many ways. Primal, the primal thing of knowing, having a star to follow and an anchor emotionally that you can go, that's where I'm going, and I know that direction is true, and I know that's going to help me find my way through the forest and through life. So good time for that card. Right, thank you folks for listening. I will see you all soon. Take care, and any comments, please leave them. We will get to them as soon as we can. Thank you. Bye bye. See you soon.